could it be? But me, your man, Louie T. Welcome to Washington football overtime. Washington falls 31-17 to the Baltimore Ravens. That wasn't that bad now, was it? You know, a little painful at times offensively. Watching the same play, it felt like the game was on repeat. Watching the same wide receiver screen 94 times in the game, but you know, and then you sprinkle in the occasional slant, and they threw about 77 of those. But outside of that, I thought the defense wasn't terrible. And we've been saying this all season long. Defense wasn't that bad. Offense wasn't good enough. End result is you give up 30-plus points. You don't score north of 20. You lose. And that's where we are as a football team right now. But this could have been a lot worse. And the defense gave up a couple of plays. Said you had to really contain Lamar Jackson. For the most part, they did. Minus 150-yard touchdown run. That was a big play. You missed out on some opportunities early in the football game. The missed field goal was huge early because you need points there. You can't afford to allow the Ravens to have great field position there. The defense came out, played well on the first possession of the game. And then you had the fumble by J.D. McKissick, and voila. The Ravens are in scoring range. They score a touchdown. I talked about this last week. Just because you turn the ball over in your territory doesn't mean you have to give up a touchdown. There's no rule that says, hey, you turn it over, got to give up a touchdown. Okay? We'll talk about Dwayne Haskins. I know a lot of you want to talk about Haskins, and the referendum every week is he's not the guy, he is the guy, he is the guy, he isn't the guy. We'll talk about Haskins and his performance. Threw for over 300 yards in this game. But, yeah. Anyway, you don't have to give up a touchdown after the J.D. McKissick fumble. You don't. There's no rule that says you have to give up a touchdown. That fumble took place at about the 35 or 37-yard line, something like that. And you end up giving up a touchdown drive. Doesn't have to happen. How about you force them to kick a field goal? That would be pretty cool. Then you get in the field goal range yourself, and you miss. And then Lamar Jackson goes off for a 50-yard touchdown, and just like that, you're down 14-0. And we talked about getting off to a faster start. This wasn't a terrible start to the game. It just wasn't fast enough. And when you allow teams that are better than you to have opportunities, you can't create opportunities for a team that's already better than you. They don't need your help. They don't, okay? You can't have a fumble. You can't miss a field goal and set them up with field position damn near at midfield. They don't need our help. We need theirs. They don't need ours. So we essentially accounted for their 14 points early in this ball game, and it was tough sledding after that. But we battled. We stayed connected. We gave ourselves a shot, but it wasn't going to be enough. It just wasn't going to be enough. It wasn't enough points that were going to be scored today. I hated the decision in the fourth quarter, early stages of the fourth quarter, down 31-10, or what was it at that point of the game? It was 28-10 because we were down 18. You got a chance to cut the score to a two-score game from a three-score game. You take the field goal, you cut it to a 15-point game. You give yourself a chance to fight. Now, ultimately, it wouldn't have mattered. The Ravens ended up getting a field goal back. So it would have pushed the lead back out to 18 anyhow. But I hated that and the play call that was after it. So we throw the ball to the 9-yard line when it's 4th and goal after Dwayne takes a hideous sack. I don't know. Anyway, I digress. I got a couple of super chats. I don't want to miss any. I think I missed a couple last week. I don't want to miss any this week. So we'll get to these super chats quickly, and then we'll get back to some more discussion over the game. This first one is from Daily Grind. Thank you for the super chat, Daily Grind. Greatly appreciate you. Daily Grind writes, no excuses this time, Lou. I'm sorry. This was a winnable game. We gave up 2 touchdowns that they didn't earn. Haskins isn't doing his part, in my opinion. Oh my God, 68 screens. This wasn't a winnable game. It felt like a winnable game. I'm going to tell you how I felt watching this game. The Ravens never felt threatened in this game by us at all. I don't think they ever felt like we could beat them in this game. That's just how I felt watching the game. Now, you may have saw a different game. You may have felt differently. but I don't think they ever truly put their foot on the gas pedal. It just felt like they were coasting this entire game. Never felt like we got the Ravens' best punch necessarily in this game, So from that standpoint, I don't think this was a winnable game, contrary to popular belief. And yeah, when you look at this game, we were hanging tough. We were in there, but I never felt like, and I don't think they being the Ravens, ever felt threatened by us. I don't think we ever was really in a position to win this game. After the J.D. McKissick fumble, and you go down 7-0, and then you get the missed field goal by Dustin Hopkins, and then you go down 14-0 after the 50-yard Lamar Jackson run. I never thought we were coming back in this game. So at that point, this isn't a winnable game for me. So this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to be this season until the offense gets on track and they're able to push the football down the field vertically. You hate that your first deep shot of the game, or second, we took one early in the game that wasn't close. I didn't care. The fact that we were throwing it deep, I loved it. I said, even if it's incomplete, just throw it deep. And they did that in the first quarter. I want to say it might have even been on the first possession of the game. However, you hate that your first deep completion of the game comes with, 2 minutes and 23 seconds left in the game. Look, it's better than never. Okay, better late than never. It got me excited. That was my most exciting moment of the game. Literally, it was. One, I said, Bob Griffin ain't coming here doing shit. So I took solace in Jonathan Allen depositing his ass in the end zone, having him throw up a flutter job and having it get picked off. Go take your ass back to the bench. Don't come here trying to throw some shit from the end zone and try to make a play so you feel good going back home on the bus. No, take your ass on the bus with an interception and no completed passes on the day. He may have had one to J.K. Dobbins. I don't think he had a completed pass, but one to our team. Okay? Get out of here with that shit. So I felt good about Bob Griffin being sent home with a pick. And then Dwayne turns around and throws a beautiful ball to Terry McLaurin. I'm saying, where was this in the first quarter? Where was this in the second quarter? Where was this in the third quarter? Where was this in the third game of the season? Where was this in the second game of the season? Where was this in the first game of the season? We need more of this. So that was encouraging, okay? But this game never felt like a winnable game. Dwayne threw for over 300 yards. He can only go out and execute the plays they call. Now, you could argue that this is a chicken or egg type of situation. We think we know which one came first. I think this is largely in part to our offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, saying, I don't trust Dwayne to make the reads necessary to push the football down the field. That's one scenario. I can't confirm nor deny any of these things that I'm about to say, but this is how I feel. He doesn't trust Dwayne to make the proper reads or get the football out quick enough. I think there's also a situation where he doesn't trust the offensive line to do their job. And so every time we try to take a shot, seems like Dwayne's under duress. Even if we're having 7-man protections, I look, at the end of the day, for whatever reason, we're comfortable throwing it short and underneath. I think that needs to change, and eventually it will. But for right now, that's what's working. If it's not broken, don't fix it. He threw for over 300 yards. High completion percentage, obviously, because a lot of these passes were 5 yards and into the line of scrimmage. So I understand that, but still, got to make the throws. He missed a couple today where you're like, come on, Dwayne. But then he throws one, an easy one, but it's one we've seen him miss all season long on the 4th down completion to Terry. So there's progress being made. It's slow progress, but a wise man once told me slow progress is better than no progress. So I'll take what I can get. Okay. Thank you for the super chat, Daily Grind. Got another one here from Daily Grind. Double up, Daily Grind. Thank you for doubling up. He also writes, Gibson looked damn good, Lou. Oh my God, but I don't understand why they took him out to let Barber finish what he didn't, but they ended up letting Gibson finish. I knew that was going to happen. They tried to give it to Gibby first, and then he got stopped on the 1-yard line, and then they took him out to put Barber in, and you had a feeling that was going to take place, that they were going to bring in Barber because that's the guy they trust around the goal line. He's a physical finisher, and he got walloped at the goal line. And then they said, all right, Gibson, you've gotten a breather. Let's let you try and finish off what you started. And he was able to. That was good. I was glad to see him get the touchdown there. He deserved to be able to cap that one off with a score. So Gibson looked damn good today. And I got to say to my man Derek B out there, are you happy now? You can't use we haven't seen 100 yards of all-purpose offense from any of the backs conversation anymore, narrative, because Antonio Gibson had a whale of a day and he eclipsed 100 yards of total offense in this game, and he found pay dirt multiple times. So, or once. We only scored 2 touchdowns in this game, but that's nor here nor there. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up daily grind. Let's hold on a second. I need to check to make sure the Dallas Cowboys aren't coming back. Okay, I just had to make sure, because you know they those bastards over there, boy, they don't know how to quit. So just had to make sure that they weren't trying to do something crazy. They're still trailing in that game, 47-38. So they're down 2 scores with 3:25 left, but they were down 41-14 at one point. So the fact that they've cut it to 9, that's pretty goddamn interesting. And it's still 3:25 left. I don't know the timeout situation, but that's a little closer than I thought it would get. So anyhow, I digress. Let's keep it pushing. Got another super chat here. This one from Daily Grind. Thank you for tripling up, Daily Grind. I really appreciate you. Daily Grind writes, they had to keep throwing short passes because Dwayne's accuracy downfield was hideous. It felt winnable if we stuck with the run. I don't think the run was as successful as you're making it out to be. The run was successful at times, but it wouldn't have been enough to carry us in this game. The Ravens aren't terrible against the run to the point where you feel like you can just run it down their throats. The short passing game served as a run game. I mean, we didn't really have to have the run game be as big a part of this game when you're throwing all of your passes short and underneath. So that was like an extension. When you run a West Coast type offense, and there are West Coast concepts in this offense, but this is supposed to be a down the field offense. This is supposed to be stretching the football field vertically, getting chunk plays. We're not doing that right now. Everything right now is short. And it does feel West Coast-ish, okay? And so I didn't have a problem with them doing what they felt like they needed to do to be able to execute offensively. If that means you got to throw it short 45 times, which is essentially what they did. Haskins had 45 completions or attempts in this game, and probably 43 or 42 of them were within, I take that back. Probably 40 of them were within, 5 yards of the line of scrimmage when the ball was caught by the receivers. Literally, I mean, there were about two deep shots to McLaurin in this game. One at the beginning of the game, one at the end that he caught. You had the pass to Inman over the middle of the field that he should have caught that he didn't. I think you had another pass to Inman that he did catch that was like a 12 or 13 yard gain. And it's a shame that we can almost pinpoint out of 45 passes, all of the ones that traveled, more than, 5 to 7 yards down the field. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, again, I didn't have a problem with it. Dwayne didn't look bad today. He looked safe, though. And I don't like safe. Safe gets you 17 points. Safe gets you beat up pretty good and doesn't give you a chance to win. But after a 3-interception performance, I can't blame him for wanting to be safe in protecting the football. Key himself says, Alex time, just curious what you think about that. Thank you for the super chat. Key himself, no. It's never Alex time. Nor should it ever be Alex time. I never want to see Alex Smith play a football game in this league again. And if he does, I don't want it to be with the Washington football team. So no, it's not Alex time, nor should it be. He shouldn't even be active this season at all. Period. End of discussion. Thank you for that super chat, Key himself. Big Money Sonny, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Big Money Sonny, who writes, Trashkins ain't it, Lou. Even the play calling doesn't believe in him. 200 screen plays, and he still finds a way to overthrow a few. Come on, man. Shout out to Gibson. He's the real deal. Trashkins ain't it, though. Gibson was phenomenal in this game. I talked about that after his Week 2 performance versus Arizona, where I thought he was really good. So we've seen this from Gibson. We've seen this coming. And remember, we talked about it on Washington Football Nightly, that Coach Rivera said he feels like these backs are going to break out here shortly, especially Gibson. We're starting to see that This was a big performance for him, but he's still got a ways to go, but he's continuing to progress. We like the development we see out of him, and he's been a really calming influence on his football team this season out of the backfield, and I think the future is very bright for Antonio Gibson. As for Haskins, again, this wasn't a performance that you bench him after. This wasn't one of those performances where you say, I'm going to tell you right now, this wasn't overly impressive. Like, you don't walk away from this game saying, okay, maybe we got something here. For those of you who already didn't want to keep proceeding with Haskins, this did nothing for you. This didn't change your mind one bit. I understand that. For those of you like myself, just looking for any incremental progress, you got a little bit of that today. He was a lot more accurate. There were still some misfires, but you're gonna have misfires when you throw it 45 times. There were a couple of balls like the slant to Terry that was behind him that almost got picked off. There were a couple of throws, one in the flats to the running back out of the backfield where he overshoots it by about 2 yards over his head, and you're like, come on, guy, I need some more touch. But we got some touch. We got a beautifully thrown deep ball to Terry late in the game. That encompasses like 4 different things we're complaining about all in one play. The ability to read one-on-one coverage outside with your guy. Well, that was in the slot, actually. Terry won on a fade in the slot. And, you get one-on-one there. You take advantage of it. You put that football where only your guy can get it with touch and the accuracy. And it's a deep ball. And you're pushing it down the field. There are a lot of things we've complained about. A lot of those things you saw in that play. So he's capable. You just need to see it on a more consistent basis. So, the biggest complaint I had about Dwayne in this game is his lack of playmaking ability. When things break down in the pocket, he looks stiff. He looks scared. Chris Cooley brought something up that is very interesting, that Dwayne doesn't scramble to his right. And he's right. When you think back to all the big Dwayne Haskins runs in his career and all the big plays that he's made, every one of them, I think about that Philadelphia Eagles big throw early in the season last year. Was it early in the season last year? What game was that? I can't remember what game it was. Might have been a preseason game. I can't remember, but it was a huge throw where he rolls out to his left. It didn't count. It ended up being like a penalty or something on the play, but it was a beautiful throw. It was against Detroit last year, I think it was. I can't remember which game it was, but it was a beautiful throw, rolling out to his left, across his body, down the field, like 50 yards on a rope to Terry, and it was to his left. And when you think about all of his big scrambles, you think about any of the plays he made, a lot of them are to his left. You can't really think about many that come to his right. And there are opportunities, and I'm just watching off the TV copy. I can't wait to get to the film. But I bet you there are instances where he forced the throw today, or, the pocket held up and nobody was open down the field, and he could have scrambled to his right. And he just decided, nah, I'm going to stay right here. And there's one play in particular that I'm thinking about where he forces the ball on a shallow cross, and the pocket is collapsing around him, and there's a lane to his right on the TV copy. Now, there may have been a defender hanging around outside that may have deterred him, but I don't think he's even looking to run to his right. That's right now where I think he needs to be better. Everything, like the sack that he took, he's trying to spin back to his left. Like, everything that he does from a mobile standpoint is going towards his left, and that's a tendency right now that he's got to break. And he's not, last year at the end of the season, he was creating off schedule. He was extending plays. He's not doing that this year. If the pocket isn't clean for him, everything goes to shit, and it can't be that way. You lost all this weight to show off more mobility, to be able to be a little bit more agile back there. Use it. It doesn't look that way right now. And that's the biggest complaint I had in this game, is that there were opportunities to create, and he didn't, I thought. Got another super chat. This one is from Cameron Montgomery. Thank you for the super chat, Cameron Montgomery. And once again, thank you for the super chat, Big Money Sonny. Cameron Montgomery writes, Haskins haters don't know football. 314 yards, no interceptions, only 2 weapons. Scott Turner is underrated. Didn't expect to win, saw great potential / progress. I didn't have a problem with this performance in this game. I didn't. It's a math performance when you look at in the grand scheme of things. A lot of short and underneath passes. If you didn't watch this game, you look at his numbers, you say, wow, man, he was super accurate, threw for a bunch of yards. If you watch the game, a lot of these are underneath. Still got to be accurate in the short to intermediate game. At some point, I think they're going to expand. They're not ready to do it yet, and that's fine. It's a new offense. You're limited on weapons. No Steven Sims. And so you're really limited on what you can and can't do. You still got to remember, some of these guys are really young. Isaiah Wright, really young, undrafted guy. Okay? Dontrell Inman just got here a month and a half ago, literally. Like, this is a group that is still meshing and gelling together. So there's a lot here. A lot of moving parts. We've talked about that already. But at the end of the day, I saw progress, incremental progress made this week. Small baby steps in the right direction. And so I don't have a problem with what happened today. Scott Turner, I thought, did a good job. In certain instances, Ron Rivera took responsibility for the end of the half debacle and debauchery. He said that it was his call to do that short play. I guess we'll see. We'll hear what he has to say with the media after the game. But that whole end of the first half sequence was just a mess. It really was. Daily Grind, thank you again for another super chat. Really appreciate you, Daily Grind. Thank you so much. Who writes, exactly, big money. Haskins can't throw down the field or crossing routes, just slants and screens or dump offs. Again, I want to see more of what we saw towards the end of the game. I thought he actually started to push the ball down the field at the end of the game. For some reason, they try to be safe early in the game. And then as we are out of the game, and the defense is starting to loosen up and they're all, just keeping everything in front of them, whatever the case may be. Now they want to start getting aggressive. We've seen this now 3 times this season. We saw it in the Arizona game. They started to get aggressive and push the ball down the field. We saw a deep shot to Terry over his outside shoulder that he could have caught. We saw the Steven Sims corner route against Arizona late in the game when it's out of hand and you really don't have a chance to win at this point. We saw it last week against Cleveland, even though I thought they were a little bit more aggressive early in that game. And I think maybe that's part of the reason they dialed back some of the aggressiveness because of the mistakes that were made last week by Dwayne trying to be aggressive. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason for, 45 passing attempts, but, 35 of them being slants or wide receiver screens or, dump swing passes or things around the line of scrimmage. Maybe that's the reasoning behind that, is to just gain his confidence back, to put him back in a position where he's a confident thrower of the football again. Confidence is everything in this league. You don't have that, you got nothing. So, like I said, this is one of those building block games. You build off of this, and, maybe next week is a winnable football game. The Rams are good, but they're not Ravens good. They're not Chiefs good. They're beatable. So, we'll see what happens next week. Hopefully you get Chase Young back. Man, I love his energy on the sidelines. I really do. And you'll see what happens. Brandon Hayes said, thank you for the super chat, Brandon Hayes. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon Hayes writes, bro, we definitely picking in the top 3 to 5 in 21. We can't pass on quarterbacks next year. Haskins has no mobility. Next QBs do. I don't think we're going to pick in the top 3 to 5. I disagree with you there. I think we're going to win some more games. Our division is horrible. Do you really think that we're going to be 2-4 in the division this year? Because I don't. I just don't see any way possible that we don't at least go 3-3 in the division. And I think there's another 1 or 2 wins out there for us. Maybe 3 or 4 when it's all said and done with the teams that we play on the schedule. There are other teams that we play like a Detroit, like like Cincinnati. And Cincinnati's not a bad team, and they're going to be even better. Joe Burrow's going to be even better by the time we get to them. But at the same time, they're beatable. Detroit is beatable. There are winnable games on the schedule. Like, we are not going to be a 3-13 team this year. As bad as this looks at times, this looks nowhere near as bad as it was last year. So we won 3 games last year. Keep in mind that we were a train wreck last season. We won 3 games. You really think we're going to repeat that? We had 2 or 3 penalties max today. Like, this team, they're doing things the right way. We just don't have enough talent. And you're still trying to figure things out with the quarterback position. The defense is still trying to figure some things out as well. But at the end of the day, this team is not as bad as you think. I keep trying to explain that to you. I keep showing you the film. I was listening to the Kevin Sheehan show podcast, and I'm still trying to play catch up there because I'm so behind on all of those episodes. And there was an episode against Arizona where Chris Cooley's breaking down the film, And all the defensive guys are getting A's and B's until he got to the secondary. Like, we're not playing bad football. We're just not playing good enough football to win. And that's what you guys have to understand. This is what we were supposed to be going into the season. Some of you had this unrealistic expectation that we were going to somehow win 10 games this year. I don't know what you thought was going to happen. And after week 1, some of you really took that expectations meter and it shot through the roof for whatever reason. Okay? Some of you really started to think that this team was going to magically just appear as a good football team. Now, there were some winnable games. I'm not going to sit here and act like Arizona wasn't beatable. They've lost 2 straight since they beat us. Okay? That was a winnable game in week 2. Very winnable game. But when you make the mistakes that we made, and it wasn't all Dwayne. You know, when Steven Sims fumbles a punt, that's what really changed that game. When you make the mistakes we've made as a team, this is why you sit here at 1-3. But we're a young team. Mistakes are to be expected. We're still trying to figure things out. We're not going to be picking in the top 5 of the draft next year. Is quarterback going to be on the table? You damn right. It's going to be something that they discuss. If Dwayne Haskins does it, and he's still got 12 games this season to prove to everyone in the organization that they can build around him, that they don't need to go chasing after a quarterback prospect in 2021. But I tell you what, there's a lot of football left to be played, but that's going to definitely be a discussion that's on the table. As we sit here right now, definitely quarterback. And even if we're not drafting in the top 5 or the top 10, you know, a trade-up scenario is definitely within the realm of possibility if they love a guy and that opportunity to trade up and get somebody is available. You know, so that all those things are on the table, but it's so early in the season, it's not even worth talking about right now. Thank you for the super chat, Brandon Hayes. And you're right about Haskins. His mobility, it just isn't existent right now. It's just non-existent, and it's frustrating to watch because there are opportunities for him to get out. Not to me, and I said that. Even before this super chat, I said the one thing that was the most disappointing to me was his lack of mobility and playmaking ability in this game. Like, he's like a statue back there. And if all of the shedding of the weight and getting into better shape was an effort to be more mobile, we're not seeing the labors of your fruit or the fruit of your labor really coming to fruition. We're not seeing any of that taking place. You're not utilizing the athleticism that you were supposed to have gained due to the increase or decrease in body fat and body mass and this better frame and shape. We're not really seeing the dividends from that right now. And I need him to be a little bit more creative back there. We know he's capable of it. We aren't seeing it. I need to make sure the Cowboys go down. It's a damn shame that I got to keep checking to make sure. Okay, they did. They lost by 11, 49-38. So, and that's a Browns team that we gave up 34 to. They gave up 49. Okay? The Cowboys can't stop anybody. We have the best defense in the NFC East. I know that's not saying much because the entire division stinks. But we got the best defense in the division. We've got a shot. It's as crazy as this sounds. The Cowboys are terrible. The Giants are terrible. The Eagles are terrible. We're terrible, but we got a shot. We got a shot. Extra Squaw says, I'm sorry. All right, thank you for the super chat, Extra Squaw. Greatly appreciate you. Extra Squaw writes, I'm sorry, Haskins ain't it. The fact that they threw all these screens shows their belief in him. He's 12 games to prove. He's got 12 games to prove to me, but it looks like a bust. I can't argue with that sentiment. I don't agree with that yet. And I didn't have a problem. I don't love the fact that we threw 8 million screens in this game. I don't love the fact that we complemented those 8 million screens with 1.5 million slants. I don't love that, but it was working. And if it's working and it's not broken, then don't fix it. That's what they went with in this game. Now, what I have a problem with is right before the half, you got an opportunity to take a shot at the end zone. You got a timeout. You can work the middle of the football field, and you decide to throw a little swing pass into the flats. And the fact that the Ravens are sitting on a swing with 14 seconds left and a timeout in your back pocket, and the fact that the Ravens are sitting on a swing pass tells you all you need to know about where this offense is right now. They should have been protecting the middle of the field, making sure nothing cheap, nothing deep over the top. And here they are sitting on a swing route. And by the time J.D. McKissic catches the football and looks up, there are 3 Raven defenders waiting on him. Like, That's indicative of where we are offensively right now. Thank you for the super chat, Extra Squaw. Derek B. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. Greatly appreciate you. Derek B. writes, lessons learned. What a difference a chase makes. Absolutely. I think this defensive performance would have been, I thought this was actually a quality defensive performance. It would have been exponentially better if Chase Young were healthy, especially knowing what we found out late in the week, which was their left tackle, Ronnie Stanley, more likely than not was not going to play. He ultimately didn't. They had to take their right tackle and flip him to left tackle. And we didn't hear a peep out of Montez Sweat in this game. I was hoping Montez would step up. Maybe there's a reason for that. Maybe he got double teamed in this game. We'll see. But we didn't get any pressure on Lamar Jackson for the most part in this game. He was able to stand back there, and then even when he felt uncomfortable, he just scrambled out and found his tight end or found one of his receivers down the field, and that was that. So definitely, what a difference a chase makes. Add Gibson to Terry as weapons to the rest are trash. Okay, so you're not buying anybody else right now. At least you acknowledge that Gibson is a weapon. Payne caused the interception. Respect that man. I respect Payne. He caused the interception 2 weeks ago versus Arizona. He was the one that looped around. I showed that on film. I told you, Daron Payne is playing better. He's playing better. I still don't look at him as a one-on-one menace, havoc-wreaking pass rusher. I don't see that. I don't. But he wins his fair share of matchups inside. That's, and I told you, he's by far and away our best run defender. It's not even close. 3 yards and a carry is garbage. Don't tell me the line is okay. The line isn't terrible, though. It's not. Again, we can upgrade the line, but what more do you want? Like, the line wasn't great today. It wasn't terrible. But that's how it's been all season. There hasn't been one game. The Cleveland game, I thought the line was actually really solid. Outside of a couple of plays, the offensive line wasn't too. And I think some of the grades that we've seen, and some of the film that I've told you about has shown that. But our line is not dominant. It never has been. Okay? Even when we were at our prime, when we were lighting up the scoreboard at times, we still had a finesse offensive line. Okay? Our line has been built to pass block. I don't think that has changed. We're still but I think that some good things were done today. And again, I'm going to go, when we watch the film, I think we're going to find out that this was another solid performance by the offensive line. Not great, but and when you run as many screens as we ran and you have the success that we have, you got to credit that to the offensive line too. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. Let's see. Got a super chat here from Door Gunner. Thank you for the super chat, Door Gunner. Greatly appreciate you. All 4 NFC East teams may be drafting in the top 10. No way is that going to happen, because one of these teams has to win the division. But you know what? That would be the most comical thing of all time. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think it's going to happen. Okay. Somebody in this division is going to beat up on the rest of the division. Someone in this division is going to go 5-1 in the division, 6-0. And that's enough to get you out of the top 10 right there. 6 wins is enough to get you out of the top 10 of the draft. So someone, 5 wins. Cowboys have already won a game outside of the division. I still think they're the best team in the division, even though they can't stop a nosebleed right now. But they can score. They scored another 30 whatever points today. They're going to outscore some teams this year. They may not, be able to stop the upper echelon teams that can score, but they're going to score against some teams this year. They're going to light up this division in terms of points. And I think when it's all said and done, at least one team won't be drafting in the top 10. I don't know about the rest of the division. It could get ugly. The Giants are definitely drafting in the top 10. The Eagles, if they don't turn something around, they themselves could find themselves drafting in the top 10. But I don't think we're going to end up in the top 10 when it's all said and done. But man, is this division bad. My goodness, this division is horrendous. Got another super chat. This one is from Antoine Davis. Thank you for the super chat, Antoine Davis, who writes, Ron's focus is player development, and if we win, we win. He wants to win. If we were 1-3 and Philadelphia and Dallas were both 3-1 right now, then that statement would hold a little bit more weight. When you're 1-3 and you're still at the lead of your division, no, it's not about player development anymore. It's about, hey, let's find a way to try to win this division. This shit is here for the taking. I don't think Ron anticipated this division being as bad when he was talking about growth and player development and all that stuff in the offseason. He didn't anticipate Dallas being 1-3. He didn't anticipate the Eagles being 0-2-1 at 3 weeks into the season going into week 4. He didn't anticipate this, but this is where we are. And if the 49ers take care of business tonight like they're supposed to, and the Rams take care of the Giants like they're supposed to, you've got an 0-4 team, a 0-3-1 team, and 2 1-3 teams, and you're one of them, and you're leading the division. He didn't anticipate this taking place. But now that it's here, now that this opportunity has fallen into his lap, and speaking of Ron, he was struggling today, man. Gritty performance by Ron Rivera. He was struggling over there. Sitting down on the bench on TV timeouts. Every time you look up, he was trying to, get his wits about himself. So he's fighting over there, man. We got to do this for Ron. And so I don't know how this is going to go. He may miss a game or two this season, but at the end of the day, this division is up for grabs. And now I think you start shifting your focus from player development. And this is why I think the noose, that's not a good one. This is why I feel like the rope, that's not a good one. This is why the leash on Dwayne is really getting shorter, because this is not what they had signed up for. They didn't expect this opportunity. And I talked about this on Friday. I think I talked about it on Thursday and Friday. They didn't expect this opportunity to be here, but here we are. So now they feel like we're not getting enough out of the quarterback position. We got to go elsewhere. If we think Kyle Allen can run the offense more effectively, more efficiently, we can be more dynamic offensively with Kyle Allen under center, and that's why we're not winning games. That's not why we're not scoring enough points. They're going to do that. But I don't see that happening right now. Thank you for the super chat, Antoine Davis. Got another one here from Toan Ho. Thank you for the super chat, Toan Ho, who writes, by next offseason, we need to sign more offensive weapons, vets and rookies, and OBJ just scored to extend the lead. Good. So that's his 3rd touchdown of the game to put Dallas away for good. But not before the Cowboys were able to put a nice little jolt and a scare into the Browns. I think you're going to see a lot of money being spent by this team. I don't think Brandon Sheriff is going to be extended. I don't. I really don't. And I think you're going to start to see them go after some guys in free agency. I think you're going to see them be aggressive in the draft next year in terms of offensive weaponry. I think you're going to see them look to be aggressive in upgrading some parts of this offensive line as well. I think you're going to see them be aggressive more so. I think over the last few years, they've been a little bit more aggressive on the defensive side because they're trying to strengthen their strength, which is their defense. Now I think they're going to turn their focus to the offense and really look to strengthen the offense. That may be adding a new quarterback. That may not involve adding a new quarterback. Whatever the case may be, I think you're going to see a lot of emphasis on the offense this offseason. Thank you for the super chat. Got another one here from Daily Grind. Can't see you right now, man. I appreciate you and all that you do. Daily Grind writes, 300 yards, no touchdowns to show for it says something to me, and it's either the play calling or the QB. I say QB issue, no QB should throw for 300 yards and no touchdowns. Well, you got to also think about both times that we got down there, he could have thrown a touchdown pass. Would that have made you feel better if he had 2 1-yard touchdown passes? Because those opportunities were there, but they decided to run. Who cares how you get the touchdowns? Who cares that you got 300 yards and no touchdown passes? That if that Terry play ends up falling into the end zone instead of him being down at the 3, he gets into the end zone, do you feel more excited about 315 yards passing and 1 score? I mean, we watched the game. We know what those yards were. It doesn't really make a difference whether you threw for a touchdown pass or not. If Tom Brady doesn't throw for a touchdown pass and throws for 310 yards and his team wins, you think he gives a shit about not having a touchdown pass? And Tom Brady is the dink and dunk master. He's the guy that's going to surgically disassemble you and cut you to pieces with short passes. He's been doing it for years. You can win with the short passing game. Our problem is, we had a 17-play drive today and got no points. That's the problem. That's why we have to be more explosive. Because if we don't pop a big one, we can have a 17-play drive and get nothing out of it. Now, there were some bad plays. A false start by Morgan Moses. Or they called it on Chase Roullier. I thought I saw it on Morgan Moses. Doesn't matter. False start. Then Dwayne takes a 15-yard sack or 18-yard sack or whatever it was. And remember, the drive, this set of downs started at the 10, so it's a goal-to-goal situation. Like, you have to score a touchdown. You can't get a first down here. So, at the end of the day, 300 yards passing is great. Doesn't matter if you accumulate those yards and don't have any scores to show for it. If we would have won this game, would you have cared if he had 300 yards passing and no touchdowns? And all of the runs that we got for touchdowns were the difference in the game? We get down there, get to the 2-yard line. Dwayne throws a pass to the 2, and then they run it in. Do you care? Who cares? Thank you for the super chat, Daily Grind. Big Money Sonny. Thank you for doubling up. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Big Money Sonny, who writes, facts, Daily Grind. That's what the chat needs to understand. Trashkins lovers are delusional. I'm sorry. At the end of the day, it's not about loving Haskins, and it's wanting him to succeed and wanting him to get the opportunity to succeed. It's not about us being delusional, people that want to continue to see this guy get an opportunity to grow. What a lot of you don't understand that are ready to move on from him is that you do actually get better when you continue to play. There are things that get cleaned up. The greatest example that is recent that I keep pointing to, that I keep harking back to, is Josh Allen. Okay? Josh Allen is different in this sense that he is an athlete at the quarterback position. He can move around and extend plays. But he started out his career very ominously. He started out with a bunch of interceptions, very low completion percentage, missing wide open targets. Bills fans, after 16 starts, were ready to move on from him. Look where he is now. You have to give guys an opportunity. A lot of you don't understand that because you didn't watch Josh Allen. You just see the end product and think, oh, he's a good football player. He's this, he's that. A lot of people didn't like Josh Allen coming out of Wyoming. And then those same people said, see, this is what we were talking about. This is why we don't like Josh Allen. He's inaccurate. He had a below 60% completion percentage his first year. This is why we don't like Josh Allen. He turns the football over. He had more interceptions than he did touchdown passes through his first 11, 12 games of his career. This is why we don't like Josh Allen. This is why we got to move on from Josh Allen. Look where he is now. He's more accurate. Don't tell me that you can't get more accurate with the football as you get more comfortable. Now, there are some fundamental issues with Haskins and his footwork and things of that nature. I understand that. And he may never be a truly accurate passer of the football. That may be factual. But I'd love to see him get more comfortable. I'd love to see him get more targets around him. I'd love to see him get more opportunities to figure this out. So I'm not willing to bail on him like some of you are. And if you can't, and so we can agree to disagree. I agree that he's not playing his best football. I agree the offense looks very elementary right now. I agree with you in that. But we can agree to disagree that you want to see him moved on from, and I don't. And we'll see what happens. But I can tell you right now, Kyle Allen isn't the answer. I know this because I watched him play last season. I know he's not the answer. And the staff knows this because if they really thought that Kyle Allen was better or could push Dwayne Haskins, they would have done something already. Or they would have actually made it a competition in camp. They know what it is. Ron Rivera's been around Kyle Allen for multiple years. This isn't his first time being around Kyle Allen. They know him. Scott Turner knows Kyle Allen. They know what he's capable of. That's why he's not playing. So, Dwayne Haskins, we need to figure out what it is with him. And the only way we're going to figure that out is to continue to let him play. Thank you for the super chat, Big Money Sonny. Barrett Down and my man BD, thank you for the super chat. As always, Barrett writes, Haskins seems to like to throw off balance and is sailing his throws. There's this whole thing about him just, throwing from random platforms and, him being a little bit more comfortable throwing, off his back foot. There's a lot of idiosyncrasies with Dwayne Haskins and things that you're just like, Yeah, why do you have to do all of that? Like James Lofton on the telecast was talking about how long it took Dwayne to throw that sprint right pass on fourth down to Terry McLaurin. It felt like it was taking him forever to get that football out there. It got there, and once he lets it go, it gets there in a hurry. But it felt like it was taking way too long. It was giving that defender a chance to close and have a chance to knock it away. But he got it to Terry. It was a first down. You moved the sticks. And that was a really good throw by Dwayne, which is one we've seen him miss quite often this season. So thank you for the super chat, Barrett Downing. I got another one here from Derek B. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Derek B. Greatly appreciate you, my man. Derek B writes, 0-0 for Gibson, 120 yards, 3.5 yards per carry. So he says thumbs up for the 120 yards of total offense. Thumbs down for the 3.5 yards per carry. Now, I don't like the fact that you keep harping on the 3.5 yards per carry, because you got to understand that how many of those runs came down by the goal line. There's at least 3 runs in this game for Gibson where you're just looking to get a yard or 2. So that's going to impact his yards per carry, because he had some good hits in this game. You take out a couple of those runs in those short yardage situations, and that's up over 4 yards a pop. So, I don't want to harp on the 3.5 yards per carry, because he had 2 runs on that big drive that he had where he had the big wide receiver screen for the big play. He had 2 runs inside the 1 yard line. He had the first down run that failed. They took him out for second down. He came back in and he got the I think he was first down. He got a first down run down to the 1 yard line. They took him out of the game. They brought in what's his face, and then he had to come back in, and it was a 1 yard touchdown run. So that's going to bring down your average. When you've got those types of runs, it's going to bring your average down. But I digress. I thought he had a good game rushing the football as well as catching it. Got another super chat. This one is from Trevor Patch. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Greatly appreciate you. Trevor Patch writes, happy with Dwayne today, given the context. If he can reach Flacco status, we will be okay. Not happy with the D-line not stuffing one-gap holes in the run game. I thought that we allowed too many rush yards to everyone not named Lamar Jackson in this game. And that was one of the keys to the game, slow down the rushing attack. I thought we gave it up later in the game, not necessarily early in the game. I think where we got hurt early in the game was the fact that we just couldn't keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket. And when he was able to get out of the pocket, like the touchdown pass to the tight end, speaking of the tight end, Mark Andrews killed us today, 2 touchdown grabs for him. We continue to have issues stopping tight ends, and he's one of the better pass catching tight ends in the league, so that's not a surprise, but still disappointing nonetheless. I was cool with Dwayne. I won't necessarily say happy, but I was cool with Dwayne. I feel about Dwayne's performance today the same way I felt about his performance in week 1 after we beat the Eagles. He wasn't great, but had we had a better performance from the defense, we might have been able to win this football game. If that turnover comes with 9 minutes left in the second quarter, maybe you get a touchdown out of that drive instead of having to settle for a field goal. I don't know, but his performance in today's game, you can win with this type of performance. You can win games like that, but you got to score points. That's the problem that you have, is that with these short passes, all it takes is one deflection, which we saw in this game. How many third downs were ended because of deflected passes? One where Calais Campbell drops into coverage and deflects the ball. And that's what happens when teams know the ball's coming out quick, because you're not pushing it down the field. But then another one, Logan Thomas thinks the ball's for him. It's actually for Inman behind him. But 2 receivers. How many times do we have 2 guys in the same area too? That's weird. That seems to be happening every week. That's got to stop happening. That 2 guys end up in the same general vicinity. You're bringing too much attention to one area of the football field. I don't like that. And that ended a drive as well. Like, that's the problem when you're dinking and dunking, is that you have to be so precise. You can't make a mistake. You can't have a penalty, which we didn't have many of them today. But you can't have tip passes. You got to stay on schedule, because when you're dinking and dunking, you got to be in 3rd and 4. You got to be in 3rd and 3. You can't afford to be in 3rd and 9, because you don't have the offensive firepower to convert on 3rd and 9. And then your drive ends, and then you find yourself right around midfield and you're punting the football. And that's what happened to us too many times today. We'd be moving the football, And then we'd have and I hated. There were a couple of times today where Scott Turner, I thought, had some bad play calls in the first half where you get a first down and you maybe get a good hit in the run game, and then you'd run it twice in a row. So let's say on 2nd and 5, you run it for 8 and you're feeling good about that. So you run it again on first down and you get 1. Then you run it again on 2nd down and you get another 1. Now it's 3rd and 8. That's trash. That's garbage. And he did that twice in the first half. That's how you end up punting the football. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Got another one here from Matthew Manos, who writes, thank you for the super chat, first and foremost, Matthew, who writes, hard one to watch, Lou, HTTR. At times, it was. I'm not going to lie to you. At times, offensively, you were like, another screen. That sequence right before the half, what in the hell was that? That was hideous, okay? There were a couple of times defensively you were like, come on, guys. Seriously. Don't let that happen, you know? But all in all, it wasn't that bad. It could have been a lot worse, you know? We're going to be competitive, as I told you. We're going to be competitive this season, if nothing else. Got another super chat from Brandon Haynes. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Brandon Haynes. Greatly appreciate you for doubling up. Brandon writes, bro, even the teams that are bad are scoring more points than us. Yes, top 3 to 5 pick, I believe. We are not scoring. Terrible teams have better quarterbacks. So here's where you're making a mistake in your logic. And I understand what you're saying. You know, you look around the league, even the 0-3 teams like Minnesota and Houston and all these teams are scoring points. I get that. But a lot of these teams aren't playing any defense either. And at some point, if you're scoring points, but you can't get stops, you're going to lose ball games because of that. Now, if you can score, you're going to win some games too. But if you can stop teams from scoring, and I think we'll be able to stop some of these lesser offenses that we'll face, I think you're going to have a chance to win some of those games, especially in this division. And all of those teams that you're talking about that can score, they're not in bad divisions. So they're going to get beat up, whereas we're in a terrible division. So we're going to get an opportunity to win some games against the Giants and the Eagles and the Cowboys. We're going to have an opportunity. We're already 1-0. Our only win has come in the division. So just off the strength of having a division that's going to allow you to at least win 3 or 4 games, you got to feel like there's no way that we're not going to beat 1 or 2 teams outside of the division. Let's just say we go 4-2 in the division, because that's realistic. You split with the Cowboys. Let's say you split with the Eagles and you sweep the Giants. You're 4-2 in the division. All right, that's 4 wins on the season. You're telling me we're not going to beat 1 more team, 2 more teams outside of that? We can beat Carolina. Now, they're playing good football. A lot of time left in the season, though. And we'll see what happens. But they're playing good football as Carolina. But we're capable of beating the Carolina Panthers. You're telling me we're not capable of beating the Detroit Lions? I think so. You're telling me we're not capable of beating Cincinnati? I think so. Again, you're right. They do have better quarterback play than we do right now. Absolutely. Matthew Stafford's better. Joe Burrow's playing better. And Teddy Bridgewater's playing better. I'm not going to argue with you. You're right. And more likely than not, those teams will be favored in those games when we get there. But we'll have a chance. So I don't think we're going to see a situation where we're going to end up with a top 3 to 5 pick. I just don't see it, Brandon. But I understand what you're saying and where you're coming from. I don't think that we're going to end up, though, in that position when it's all said and done. You have to understand how bad you have to be to get a top 3 to 5 pick. We were one of the worst teams in the league last year. We were 3-13. That's how you get a top 5 pick. You have to be one of the worst, absolute worst. There are teams that don't have a win to their name, that don't know when they're going to get one, like the Jets and the Giants. And right now, the Eagles look like a mess and a train wreck. There are other teams that you look at and say, I don't know when they're going to even win a game. We've got a chance to win a game in 2 weeks against the Giants and get off the schneid. Like, we can win next week. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's possible. I thought this game was going to be a lot worse than what it was. We were in this ball game, even though I never felt like the Ravens fully put their foot on the gas pedal. I never felt like they just fully accelerated. They was like, nah, we can do a cool 65 and just cruise. We good. You know, if we ever had a chance in this game, maybe they would have said, all right, hey, shift into 5th gear. Let's go ahead and go 85 on these clowns. But they never did that. They didn't have to. But they're a better team than us. I digress. But I understand what you're saying, Brandon. I don't agree. Got another one here from DCJ. Thank you for the super chat, DCJ, who writes, I don't believe in a good loss. But overall, team played solid versus a good team. But number 7, and the offense needs to go deep more and spread the field, be aggressive. I don't believe in good losses either. There are no moral victories in this league. You just want to see growth. That's it. There's some solace that you can take in saying, hey, Dwayne did some good things today. And you keep building on that. I'm really, the most exciting play for me, and Kendall Fuller was really good too. I don't think anybody's acknowledged that yet, but he had 2 picks in this game. He was really good. But the most exciting thing for me today was the damn deep ball at the end of the game when the game was out of reach. That was the most exciting thing. That encourages me. That gives me hope. He can do this. We see it. The 4th and 2 pass, that gives me hope. He can do this. Baby steps. That's all I'm looking for is just growth. Slow progress is better than no progress. I'll take it. But I'm not happy we lost. But I didn't expect to win anyway. So, thank you for the super chat, DCJ. And I think we all feel like they need to spread the field a little bit more and be more aggressive. You know, every time they spread the field or they go empty set, the first thing I'm thinking is, oh, they about to throw a wide receiver screen. You know, they send that back in motion. Oh, yeah, they about to throw a screen real quick. And 95% of the time, I'm right. And that's not good. That's not good. Anyway, got another super chat here from 99 Problems Chase 81. Thank you for the super chat, 99 Problems Chase 81, who writes, laughing my ass off. They're terrible. We are terrible. Priceless. That's the entire division, man. Everybody's terrible, and we're a part of that nonsense. You know, I tweeted out somebody that had tweeted a GIF of Grover in the trash saying that I like trash, and the person said, this is me watching the NFC East on Sunday. And he's right. At that point, Dallas was getting trounced 31-14. Might have been 38 at that point when he made that post. We were getting run 28-10. It was ugly. I don't know what the Eagles are going to do tonight. I'm not going to count them out. The 49ers are still banged up. I still think the Eagles have a chance to snap out of their funk. But, yeah, it's a bad division, man. Yikes. Anyhow, got another super chat. This one is from CGM87. CGM87 writes, Lou, I'm livid. We had to deal with Noor for 7 damn years, and now we have to deal with his idiot son. Idiot son. He, Masco, and Zampezi should be fired before midnight. Haskins was so-so, but no time or weapons. Yikes. That was a hell of a post there by CGM87. I'm not going to call Scott Turner an idiot. I've actually liked some of the things he's done this season. This offense is very elementary, though, as I've mentioned. It's very high schoolish right now. You know, these are simple concepts. It's the same play over and over again. Again, this is either an indictment on Dwayne or it's an indictment on Scott Turner. Something has to change, though, in terms of the play calling. Like, you can't go into a game saying, all right, we're going to run screen left. We're going to run screen right. We're going to run slant left. We're going to run slant left. We're going to run slant left. We're going to run screen right, slant left. Stop right over the middle of the football field. Screen, slant, 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 screen, screen, screen. Stop route. Quick out, slant, screen, 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 screen. Like, that can't be the offense. So something's got to change. I know Scott Turner is capable of doing some nice things because I've seen it throughout this season already. But it seems like over the last 2 weeks, this offense has really, to me, regressed in terms of its creativity. And again, you got to give some credit to the offensive line for doing the same shit over and over again and executing it well. But at some point, teams are going to get smart Oh, they about to throw another screen. Or at some point, you got to get smart, and off that screen, you pump it, and you go deep off of it. Like, if you're going to do this many screens, there's got to be some kind of big payoff for this. Next week, when the Rams look at film and they say, well, goddamn, how many screens are they going to run? And the first time you look like you're going to run a screen, you got to pump it, and then you got to go. It's got to be a pump and go. And you got to let it rock, and you got to hit it. You got to make these screens count for something. I hope that's what they're setting up, because if they're not, this is painful to watch at times. We can't get rid of half of the staff. CGM 87. I actually think Matsko and Zampese have done a quality job, and these are guys that have done human-like work in this league, and actually have been impressed with Logan Thomas and his development. So, and I think that Matsko has been solid. This offensive line hasn't been bad. They haven't been good. Great, I should say. They've been good enough. I feel that way. I really do. And I think the film has bared that out as well. Nonetheless, thank you for the super chat. See, we got another super chat here from... Got another super chat here from Rob U. He says, please, let every draft pick next year be on offense. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U. Greatly appreciate you. I don't think that's going to be the case, but I think they're going to spend a lot of resources, even in free agency too, on the offensive side of the football. Not just skill players. I think you're going to see some offensive linemen too, to look to upgrade this offensive line as well. Door Gunner writes, thank you for doubling up. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Door Gunner. Greatly appreciate you. Cowboys gave up 307 rushing yards to the Browns. I watched that game. And remember, Nick Chubb goes down mid stages of the second quarter, and they started bringing in all kinds of guys. Kareem Hunt got nicked up in this game, and they just kept the party going. They just brought in two other guys, and they just kept running the football. The Browns have spent draft capital and money in their line, and it's starting to pay dividends. They spent a first-round pick on a left tackle. They spent a bunch of money on their right tackle, Jack Conklin. They spent a second-round draft pick on Joel Bitonio 3 years ago. They spent money in the offseason on J.C. Treader at center. They've spent money on that offensive line. They've spent draft capital on that offensive line. It's paying off huge dividends. If you want to be good, you're going to have to pay up front. Got another super chat. This one is from Malcolm Goodall. Thank you for the super chat, Malcolm, who says, didn't see too much flexing from Inman, but I digress. How about playing Terry primarily in the slot, because Dwayne seems to not be able to find him on the outside much. He does in terms of slants, but I think they've already talked about wanting to move Terry around more this year, and we've seen that already. His touchdown against Arizona came from the slot, and the big play today came from the slot. So they're moving Terry around a little bit, and I think that's a good thing. And there are opportunities to be made for Terry in the slot. And that's what we see the better receivers in this league do. Move around, play in the slot, play out wide. Terry's doing that. And it's good to see Terry get the amount of targets that I think he needs to be getting every week. Terry had about 14 or 15 targets in this game. He had 12 catches for over 100 and some change. Terry was huge in this game. Terry, 10 catches, 118 on the day. I think he had 12 or 13 targets. That's how Terry McLaurin should be utilized. Not necessarily slants and wide receiver screens all day long, but he needs to be targeted. I don't really give a shit how we get it to him. We just need to get it to him because he's dynamic with the football in his hands. And so whether it's 7 to 10 slants, 2 wide receiver screens, a jet sweep, whatever the case may be, I just want to get the football in his hands. And they did that today, so I do like that. And there wasn't a lot of flexing from Dontrell Inman today at all. Thank you for the super chat, Malcolm Goodall. Got another super chat. This one is from Billy Ampifo. Thank you for the super chat, Billy, who writes, the defense didn't play well, but it's hard to stop an explosive offense like the Ravens when your offense consistently has back-to-back 3 and outs. The defense didn't play their best today, but they weren't terrible. Remember, I said Lamar Jackson was going to go off for 327 yards of total offense today. That he was, and I didn't think I was wrong after the 50-yard run. I said he was going to have 125 on the ground and another 202 yards passing, and they limited him in both regards, passing and rushing. They just didn't get enough stops. They didn't create enough turnovers. They didn't get enough stops on third down. I thought the Ravens, you got to find a way. You know, the Ravens have a special teams minded coach. You have to be looking for a fake there. They didn't. And Fabian Moreau gets beat there. It's just little things like that. You have to find ways to create shorter fields for an offense that's struggling. Whether that means 3 and out. They got the ball deep in their own territory. You can't let them get 4 first downs and then punt. You got to stop them deep in their own territory, make their punter kick from our end zone, and allow the offense to start with great field position. Every time the Ravens punted today, they punted from right around midfield or the 40-yard line. And so their punter is pinning us at the 10-yard line. How many times did our returners catch the football? Stroman first punt return gets hurt on, but we started that drive at like the 12 or the 14. Wright had a fair catch at the 10. He had another fair catch at like the 12. This offense isn't built to go 88 yards. It's just not the way that it's constructed right now. We're not hitting big plays. We're not even attempting a lot of big plays. You have to shorten the field, and the defense didn't do that. Billy, thank you for the super chat, Billy Amplifo. Got another one here from H. Lucas. Thank you for the super chat, H. Lucas. Greatly appreciate you. He says, Louie, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but if the Cowboys keep losing and the division keeps stinking and we do get to the thick of the season and Haskins is not winning games, what do you do? At that, again, that's where you have a tough decision to make, and that's what we talked about on the program. And I think if you get to a point like, okay, I think a really big game for Dwayne is going to be the Giants game. To me, that's the game you got to win, and he's got to play well in. If he doesn't play well against the Giants and somehow we don't win that game, that's when you probably have to pull the plug on Dwayne at that point. If the division continues going in the way that it's going. The games that are there to be won, you need Dwayne to step up and play better, and the defense needs to do their part, and you got to limit the turnovers and the mistakes, but you need your quarterback to win the games that you're supposed to win. And the Giants at home in a few weeks is a very winnable game, that one that you should feel like you need to win. And if he can't get it done in that game, and I'd even venture to say that if we get through 2 quarters and Dwayne's struggling against the Giants, you may see Kyle Allen after halftime. Like, they're at that point with Dwayne right now. Now, like I said, this wasn't a bad performance by Dwayne. This wasn't a benchable performance. There were no benchable offenses committed by Dwayne in this game. So he's going to get another opportunity next week, as he should. I really think he should get the rest of the season. But with the division hanging in the balance all of a sudden, there becomes a new sense of urgency that wasn't going to be here before the season started, when we thought Dallas and Philadelphia were actually going to be good teams. There's a different level of urgency now. The sense of urgency is heightened. And so now you're thinking, hey, if Dwayne can't execute the offense the way we want it to be run, we got to get somebody out there that can. And then that's when you start getting into the Kyle Allen discussion. And that's when a guy like Alex Smith starts to become a real possibility, which I don't want to see. But it becomes a real thing if we get to that point. But I'm hoping we never get to that point. I hope we don't even have to entertain that. If Dwayne beats the Giants and he continues to gain confidence, I think you'll start to see him play better and better. That was the thing last year. We didn't get to the Philadelphia and Eagles performances overnight. We built up to that. Remember, the Jets game was a stinker last year for him, but he built his way up. The Carolina game was a confidence builder. The Lions game was a confidence builder. He wasn't great against Green Bay. He wasn't terrible, though. Then we built our way up. The Bills game, the first start, we were like, okay. You know, they were really safe with him, but you saw him building confidence. And then we got to the point where that Eagles game, it clicked. And then you saw it bleed over into the Giants game the next week before the injury. So we've seen this from Dwayne before, where we have to steadily build our way up to get him confident enough in the offense and what he's doing to start getting the kind of production that we know he's fully capable of. So I'm just trying to stay the course. Keep building the confidence into him that's going to allow him to turn that corner and not look back. And that's where we are right now. Thank you for the super chat, H. Lucas. Kevin Dorofield, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Kev, who writes, hey, Lou, thought made progress at times today. Gibson looked good, Haskins here and there, but accuracy again was questionable. Defense had a tough go of it. They did. I thought there was some progress made at times this game. You know, there are going to be some things I look at and say, hey, that was a good job there by Dwayne. You know, hey, Gibson made, like the run that Gibson made, his first run of the game, runs into the line, breaks it to the outside. I'm going to nitpick, and you know what I'm going to nitpick on. If you've watched the film, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what I'm going to nitpick about. But it was a hell of a run. You know, there's some good things that were done in this game. You know, guys made some plays. There's some things that you should be encouraged by, even on the defensive side of the football. Hey, Troy Apke with a knockaway on third down. Hey, like there are some things to get excited about. So no really dynamic, explosive, over-the-top plays this week. It's a small improvement, but an improvement nonetheless, okay? So you see where we're going here, all right? So, yeah, there were some chunk plays by the Ravens. But I feel like if you got to Chase Young, some of those opportunities where Lamar's just sitting back there chilling, and then he rolls out. You got to Chase Young, all that shit it's dead. Some of that stuff ceases to exist. So, I thought there was some progress made today, Kevin. I agree. Got another super chat. This one is from Martin Matthews. Thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Double M, my man Martin writes, hey, Louie, McKissick fumbles. Our tight ends get in the way of an Inman pass, and our O-line is fine, but not great run blockers. Let Haskins struggle now, but I think we have a legit shot at winning divisions with Haskins. I do too. I like some of the things I saw today, but you just kind of laid it out. When you look at the way this game started, you know, it wasn't Haskins doing a lot of the times. They got a great blitz off the edge. Could Haskins have slid his line that way? Maybe. You know, maybe they got fooled. It happens. He clean hitter off the edge. It's a sack. Kills a drive. Okay, that happens. But then you get the fumble. Defense plays well. They get a stop. We saw this. It's the same repeat of Arizona. Defense comes out, plays well on the opening possession, gets a stop. All right. Unlike the Arizona game, it wasn't the special teams, but J.D. McKissick fumbles the ball. Ravens in business. They score a touchdown. Same shit happened in the Arizona game. Exact same script. Different team, same narrative. All right. Then Dwayne goes out. We get a little bit of a drive going. You pick up a couple of first downs, and then you got an opportunity to convert on first down. Inman is open. It's an accurate pass, and you got two guys in the same damn area. Why? I don't understand. Maybe Dwayne got to Inman too late, and they allowed those receivers to converge that way. Maybe Inman was supposed to sit down. I don't know. I just know two guys in the same area usually isn't a good thing. He thinks the pass is for him. It's not. He tips it up into the air. You got to punt again. You get another drive going. You move it down the field. You get in the field goal range. Dustin Hopkins misses a field goal. I didn't like the play calling. Just so you know, and we'll look at that on film, but I can remember this, recalling it in my head right now. I did not like the play calling on that set of downs that led to that long 54-yard attempt from Dustin Hopkins. He needs to make the goddamn kick first and foremost. Had the distance, didn't have the accuracy. I need Dustin to stop missing these damn 50-plus yarders. These are killing us. You're giving up crucial, vital field position. We need these kicks to go in. We're not good enough to leave points on the scoreboard. Anyhow, I digress. I didn't like the sequence of play calls leading up to that long field goal. You get the first down. You go run, 3rd and 8, Dwayne pass, incomplete. Now you got to kick the field goal. I don't like it. I don't like it. Set the offense up for failure there. You didn't get a big run on first down. You need to be throwing it on second down. To hell with that. Anyway, I digress. You missed the field goal. Then Lamar turns around and breaks off a 50-yard run. Touchdown, you're down 14-0, and that's pretty much all she wrote. Again, that's not Dwayne's fault. Not Dwayne's fault. He didn't. Did Dwayne fumble that football, or did J.D. McKissick fumble? Dwayne threw it to the right guy, and two guys in the same spot. Again, I don't know exactly whose fault that was, but it ended up in an incompletion. Got to be better. But we're a young team. This is what young teams do. They make these types of mistakes. So, Got another one here from DH. Thank you for the super chat, DH, who writes, should have put up 23 and Dustin is suspect, plus that JD fumble. Yeah, we probably should have scored about 23 points. I had us scoring 17 in this game, so that was right around what I thought we were going to score anyway. I had us scoring 30. I had the Ravens scoring 37 and us scoring 17, so we weren't that far off. We were not that far off. Got another super chat, I believe. Let's see. Yeah, I got some more super chats here. I'm gonna knock these ones out. See where we are. This next one is from my man Derek B. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. Greatly appreciate you. Thank you for tripling up. My man Derek B writes, we have one wide receiver, no tight end. The secret is out. Face it. Well, that's what we had coming into the season. Now, I still believe in Steven Sims. I do. And when he gets healthy and he comes back, he adds another dimension to this offense. I feel like we've got 3 weapons and a half right now. You got Gibson, you got Sims Jr., you have McLaurin, and I actually think that you got a half of weapon in tight end Logan Thomas, because I think there are some things that he can do. He's a big target. He's a guy that can catch the football. He's shown that he's got really good hands. He's not an athletic freak. I told you, he's a tight end number 2 in this league. And you need those. You know, if you draft a Pitts out of Florida next year and couple him with Logan Thomas, now you got some weapons at the tight end position, because now Thomas as a second option at the tight end position is a problem. But I don't know if we'll have that luxury or not to draft a tight end in the first round, because he's a first round type of tight end, is the tight end from Florida. But, you know, again, that was the problem going into the season, was we didn't have enough weapons. And the injury to Harmon was huge, because I think he's better than Inman. I think he would have given you a little bit more than Inman, but you know, it is what it is. At the end of the day, we got what we've got. You can't complain over spilt milk. You make do with what you have. And what we have is Terry McLaurin. What we have is Steven Sims. What we have is Antonio Gibson. What we have is J.D. McKissick. What we have is Logan Thomas. Use them. Sprinkle in a little bit of Isaiah Simmons. Or Isaiah Wright. Sprinkle in a little bit of Cam Sims. He had a couple of nice catches today. For all of you Cam Sims fans out there. He had a couple of nice catches today. Sprinkle in those guys every now and again. There's enough to be functional offensively. Maybe not dynamic and explosive, but it's enough to be functional. Thank you for the super chat, Derek B. CGM87, double up, thank you for doubling up, CGM87, greatly appreciate you. CGM87 writes, Lou, no way the O-line has been good, bro. Every rush on Haskins, you see a D-line beating 76 or 73, suicides at practice, 3 sets of 10-yard end zone to end zone. I'm telling you, it's not as bad as you think. Seriously. It's not as bad as you think. There are times where Haskins has enough time to survey the field. There are times when he doesn't. I'm not going to sit here and defend this offensive line and make it seem like it's great. But the film doesn't lie. I've broken down film. I've showed you opportunities for him to get rid of the football. There are times where there is immediate pressure and there's nothing he can do. But there have been more times where he's had time to go through his reads and make a decision than there have been where he has no time. Absolutely none. So I can't agree with that. I don't think that the line has been that bad. They haven't been great. Let me stress that, but they've been good enough. They've been good enough. Not suicides at practice. You remind me of my coach. Good old days where he would go, all right, boys, on the line, suicides. It was the worst. Anyway, got another one here from Trevor Patch. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Trevor Patch. Greatly appreciate you. Trevor writes, per last, Duran and John haven't shown they are head and shoulders above the rest on the bench like Tim. And only Matt, and we see the results of him not being there. And so those guys are good. Jonathan Allen's impact, I think, is best felt when you're stunting and twisting. That's when Allen, to me, is at his best. He's not a pure dominant, I'm going to whoop this guy's ass in front of me type of defensive tackle. That's not who Jonathan Allen is. But when you start twisting and stunting up front and you start doing some things, that's when he gets to really show off some athleticism and some of his movement skills. Also, I think he's really good in the run game. Jonathan Allen is really good in the run game. Same with Daron Payne. I think Payne's upside is greater than that of Jonathan Allen. However, I think there is a ceiling on both of those guys' ability to rush the quarterback, which is, the problem that I've had with those guys in the past. But they're good football players. They really are. And you need those types of football players. And as far as, Tim Settle, he was solid today. Tim Settle was solid today. But he's not Matt Ioannidis, and he's not going to be Matt Ioannidis. We've stressed that already. So, at the end of the day, we're solid up front. I don't have any issues with the guys up front. Got another super chat from Brandon Hayes. Thank you for tripling up, Brandon. Greatly appreciate you. My man Brandon writes, bro, would you draft Haskins at 15 if we could do it all over again? Honest question. Be truthful. I wouldn't have drafted him at 15 the first time. I don't have to have revisionist history. I didn't want Haskins at all the first time. You guys know that. But once we drafted him, I said, he's here. Okay? No turning back now. I didn't want him. I wanted Drew Lock. That's the guy that I wanted. So I don't have to be honest. I was honest with you then. I'm honest with you now. I didn't want him in the first place. However, he's shown me some things since he's gotten here that I didn't know he possessed that leads me to believe that he can do this. But I never wanted Haskins. You can go back in archives and check. The record will reflect how I felt about Haskins coming out of Ohio State. So he's here now. We don't need to keep going back to what we did in 2018. He's here. I want to see the guy succeed here. End of discussion. That's how I feel about that. If he's not the right guy, I'm not one of these people that want to continue with the mistake just to try to prove people wrong. Like the Cardinals did a couple of years ago when they said, oh, we got this wrong with Josh Rosen. Let's move on from him. It took them 1 year to realize, hey, we effed up. But they had the number 1 pick in the draft so they could say that and do that. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is a guy you need to move on from yet. You need to find out. If the Bills had moved on from Josh Allen, they wouldn't be benefiting the way that they are right now. They're benefiting from sticking with a guy, giving him an opportunity, and allowing him to grow. And I think we need to do the same thing with Dwayne. Thank you for the super chat, Brandon. I got another super chat here. This one is from Trevor Patch. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Thank you for tripling up. My man Trevor writes, I don't see these Haskins haters and lovers on Patreon with you commenting on the film breakdowns. Where y'all at? That's the most important thing is you got to watch the film. If you're just going to watch the TV copy and think you know exactly what's going on, then you're sadly mistaken. There's a lot more than meets the eye. You have to sit down and watch the film. There are some good things being done. There's some bad things being done. But you got to be able to see. That's the same thing with the offensive line. The people that think the offensive line is terrible. You're not watching the film. It's not all the offensive line. Some of it is. It's not all the offensive line, though. Thank you for the super chat, Trevor Patch. Greatly appreciate you. Martin Matthews, double up, Thank you for doubling up, Martin Matthews. Greatly appreciate you. My man Double M writes, hey, Louie, we need to promote Jeff Badette. We need receivers who can separate other than Sims and Terry. We'll see. It will continue to test the depth of this receiving core. And Jeff Badette may get an opportunity. The former Oklahoma Sooner may be elevated from the practice squad at some point this season. But right now, I'm just focused on getting Steven Sims healthy and getting him back on the field, continuing to develop Isaiah Wright. And, Dontrell Inman has been solid for us and just rolling with the guys we have. And then, as we get deeper into the season, because Jeff Badette just got here, so he can't know much of the playbook. He can't know but a number of things that he can do. You don't need to add another guy into the mix that doesn't know what he's doing. We've got enough of those already on the field as it is. We've got enough young guys. So, as you get deeper into the season, maybe you promote a Jeff Badette. But with the way this season is going, you need all hands on deck because there's a division title at stake potentially in what is a terrible division. But who cares? If you got a chance to win it, you go and get it. I got another super chat. This one from Just Andre. Thank you for the super chat, Just Andre, who writes, Skins need to draft a tight end. Logan Thomas should never be a first tight end. When Love comes back, he should be in over McKissick. Look, if they didn't think Bryce Love was worthy of being in before, I don't think they're going to think all of a sudden he's better than J.D. McKissick down the road. He may get some looks down the road, may Bryce Love, but right now they're fine. And J.D. McKissick has had moments this year. He's shown flashes. This was not one of his better performances. As a matter of fact, he didn't get a lot of touches in this game. I thought they would throw it to the running backs a lot more than they did. They started off that way. Gibson with a couple of catches early in this game, caught a drag route and made something happen after the catch, caught the wide receiver screen. But McKissick had a bunch of fails on swing passes out of the backfield, and he just never got going in today's game. Didn't get enough carries on the ground either. So this wasn't one of McKissick's better games, probably one of his worst games to date as a Washington football team member. Got another super chat. This one is from JP. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Greatly appreciate you. He says, get me Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida, and Devontae Smith from a wide receiver from Alabama in 2021. Everybody else not named Terry Sims and Gibson are completely garbage. I don't think that's true, but those are two impact players. You're not going to get both of them. Those are 2 first-round picks. And last time I checked, we don't have 2 first-round picks. So had Devontae Smith came out this year, which a lot of people thought he would, I think he would have been a first-round pick this year. So he's going to be a first-round pick. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be a first-round pick from Florida. And we don't have 2 first-round picks. And, neither one of those positions may be our biggest needs when we get to the end of the season. It may be quarterback. It may be left tackle. Who knows? We'll see. So it'll be interesting. Again, a lot of football left to be played. So it's hard to really kind of pinpoint what we need right now because a new need may appear down the road. We may figure out, hey, this is the guy. We're going to roll with Dwayne, man. Dwayne might get hot. We might beat the Giants and all of a sudden Dwayne gets hot. And we rip off 4 in a row and Dwayne's playing out of his gourd. And then you're thinking, shit, we got our quarterback. Anything could happen. Doesn't seem like it now in the moment, but this is why you got to give this thing a chance to breathe. Because I think eventually Scott Turner's going to get to a point where he trusts Dwayne more. Dwayne's going to get to a point where he trusts Scott Turner more. And we're going to get into an offensive rhythm. And all it takes is one. It just takes that one game. And I'm hoping that game comes sooner rather than later. I'm hoping it's next week versus the Rams. But more likely than not, with Aaron Donald coming to town, I think it's going to be the week after that. Okay? Nonetheless, I think that is going to do it. I think that's the last super chat that we have. And it is. And so I thank you guys for joining me here on Washington Football Overtime. The team goes down to the Ravens 31-17. Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I honestly thought we were going to get our asses whooped a lot worse than what we did. We hung tough in this game, but the Ravens were just more talented. Lamar Jackson did what we thought he was going to do. He ran around and made some plays with his legs, 50-yard touchdown run, made some plays with his arm. A couple of that throw to Mark Andrews in the end zone, rolling to his left. Come on, man. That's a beautiful throw on the move. I mean, what can you do? That wasn't bad coverage by KPL. That's just a better throw and an athletic tight end getting to a spot on the field and a quarterback making a throw where it had to be. Can't defend that. Now the other touchdown up the seam, got to watch the film and see who effed that one up because he was too damn wide open there. But I digress. I thank you guys for joining me. We'll have a lot to discuss. Got a game with the Eagles tonight to see if we're still going to be in first place. And Giants are playing against the Rams now. We'll check that game, see what they're doing, and to see if we're going to remain in first place again. We got to start watching the scoreboard now and seeing what these other teams are doing to keep pace to see if this division really is going to be available to us or not. Tim J says, I agree. I want to see 7 the rest of the year to know for sure. And I think that's the way they need to approach this. But again, with the division being up for grabs, it's going to force them to do something that I don't think they were going to do before the season started. And that may be make a switch at quarterback if things don't get better right now, I don't think they're in a position to make that switch. But if things don't, and I think the Giants game is the game, I think that's the one we're going to look at and say, if Haskins doesn't play well against the Giants and we're struggling in that game, you could see a change in game versus the Giants if he gets off to a slow start in that game. But I thought this was a solid performance by Dwayne. It's not a needle mover, but it didn't go backwards. It didn't go forwards all that far. But I did see some progress. That's all I was looking for, and we got that. So I thank you guys for joining me on this show. Look forward to chopping it up with you guys in the near future. Remember, if you haven't already done so, what are you waiting on? Subscribe to the Louie T Network for more great content. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And also hit that like button on the way out and show your man some love. With that being said, I'm going to glide to the side, let you go ahead and get back to your regularly scheduled programming. Catch those 4 o'clock games. We'll meet back up after the Sunday night game, talk about the Eagles. Hopefully they'll be 0-3-1 after that contest tonight, and hopefully we'll still be on top of the division. So with that being said, you guys have a good one. Take care. Talk to you next time.